Hello, everybody. Welcome into our challenge after show. We're missing Dan again. Dan is still in Korea, but he should be with us for the next show. So today, Pam and I are going to be reviewing the challenge episode 4 of the CBS challenge installment. And this one is titled Liberty and Justice for All. And I'm just eye rolling at all of these like Declaration of Independence, Constitution type names, and I'm ready for them to just give it another title.
Oh, I just got it though. That's so sad. I just got it. It's Challenge USA. So they're giving, is that everybody got that but me? I just like that just clicks that that's why it has all these stupid names.
Yep, I think everybody may have gotten it. Yep, and it's just such a lack of, I don't even know why it bothers me. I never would know the episode title if it wasn't for Dan and me trying to embrace my inner Dan while kind of, doing these and leading these shows.
Yes.
But it's just like, come on, man. There's just zero creativity involved. It's probably the last thing they want to do, but something about the lack of creativity in these episode titles are like annoying me for some reason.
Right, because if they were going to go with that theme, there's so much more clever, fun things they can do, and it's like Yankee Doodle and he left. It's like so not
Yeah,
like
you're
clever
so
or fun. Yeah, it's like not. It's like I don't know. Think of something American like baseball and apple pie. Bye, guy. Like that's. It's like
yeah,
okay,
those
sure.
are so perfect. You're cracking me up. There's like I would say, can you see Tiffany is just
Right.
so
Yeah.
bad. Okay, so we get into this episode, and every partner goes through their arbitrary, random Price is Right machine to get their new partner. We're coming off of an elimination where Cachet and Dom won, and James and Tasha go home. So we're getting the new partners. Leo and Desi are together. My only take from this is that Desi is absolutely gorgeous. Kyland and Alyssa are back, so Big Brother back in action, and as we see, that becomes the entire storyline for this whole episode. Ben
Mm-hmm.
and Azza are together. Come to find out, Ben does live on a farm, so he is Cowboy Ben. So we're pretty much right.
Yep.
Enzo and Cachet are together, David and Justine. And my reaction is David is still here. Like I always forget that David is on the cast until he has to come up somehow. So this is my reminder of, oh, David is still here. That's the first knee jerk. Second knee jerk is, oh, fuck, he's with Justine because I really, really like Justine. I found out that she played women's soccer in college, and I think that that's so badass. And she's just cool. I just like her, and I'm rooting for her. I'm finding myself feeling like connected to her in a way, and her being one of my fan favorites so far.
We're Jenna, like so on the same page. I really like Justine, and most of my notes last night were like, oh, David, God, he's still there. Like, you do have something to prove, David. God, you're awful. Like, David, and I don't want to, spoil, but man. And I also felt bad for Justine, who I'm quickly growing to like a lot, and was like, God, that guy's dead weight. And he takes himself really seriously too. Like David is just embarrassing. Like he's just so, I'm like, oof, just, yeah. And it's all the worse because when he was on Big Brother, I wanted so much to like him. And then every time he opens his mouth, he ruins it.
So the thing is, I think I would like him as a person. And
Sure.
I sort of feel for him. There were certain things this episode that he did that won me over. He wants to work hard. He has the passion, and he's really complimentary to his teammate. He was really cute to Justine at certain points at the end. Spoiler alert, we're going to get into the eliminations.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it yet, stop now. But he did certain things that I thought were very cute and won me over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't really find. I think he's really good looking, like on a shallow level. Oh, sorry, everybody. My recording's a mood again. I'm anyway. I He's really good looking, and like not that it's fair to, but so I'm like, oh, what's he gonna say? And then he opens his mouth, and I'm like, Sierra en la boca, like just don't talk, be pretty, like you're everything he says. It almost reminds me of the guy that we worked with that like thought they were saying really interesting, like unique observations, but it's like bananas is the guy you love to hate. Like he says these sort of cliched things like he just thought of them.
Yes,
Like
like the first person to ever drop that bombshell of like loving ice
Right.
cream. Like, have you guys ever had ice cream? I worked at a liquor store with somebody who was like, yo, you got to check out this new combo I just made. It's vodka and this cranberry juice. And I was like, you
Right. Like, oh, a vodka
told us,
cranberry?
yeah, vodka
Right. Like,
cranberry.
oh my God. Right. Like, that's exactly what it is. It's like, you know, hard work gets you somewhere, but heart gets you somewhere. Like saying these sort
Yes.
of reality TV cliches that it's like, we get it, David. Like, I really want to be here and I've got something to prove. And it's like, well, you're not doing a good job. Everyone does think you're a bonehead. And there's a reason for that because you keep messing up. So,
Well, that was kind of eye-opening to me this episode that David actually does understand that that's everybody's perception of him in the house. So
yes.
I've just been watching this, feeling like a big brother, feeling like a fly on the wall, thinking like, oh, David, he doesn't, does he know that he is considered weak? Does he know that, we're kind of looking at him as this, what are you doing here sort of competitor? But it shows this episode that he does kind of have that awareness. So I thought that was interesting that he's really
Yeah.
understanding that people are seeing him as a layup and he's trying to work to fight that and he is trying to prove himself. But
That's
sometimes,
good.
yeah, it
That
can
is
be an
really good.
incredible motivator, or sometimes it can just be like you're gonna overdo it, you're overcompensating, and then that way it's like you're almost shooting yourself in the foot by doing so.
Yeah. I mean, look, he gets lucky, but I guess he's consistently so on Big Brother, he went home night one. Just to sort of sum up for anyone that didn't watch that, he came off really good. He left night one, and I think all the Big Brother fans, he was like the grocery store Joe of Big Brother for Bachelor people. Like Big Grocery Store Joe was so cute. He got sent home night one. He's gone on to like Bachelor Nation fame, and everyone was
Oh
like, "What
wow.
is she thinking?" He's so adorable. That usually doesn't happen. You usually never remember the night one goes homers, but Grocery Store Joe went home immediately. David, I think we all watching that felt like, oh man, this guy has so much potential. And it was one of those like, welcome to Big Brother, expect the unexpected. You're going to have a mission right now. And it's like, pull things out of the dark and like listen for dog barks. And if you win, you win. And if you don't, you go home. It was something where it was like, what a bummer. This guy could have been so great. And he went home immediately. So then they brought him back on All Stars. He also went home quickly. And now we see him on the challenge and he sucks. So it's like they keep giving him a chance to redeem
Yeah.
himself. And it's like, nope, nope, we misjudged his potential. Not that great. So I
Yeah,
think
they
that
keep
leaves
trying
us
to make him fit. But at the same
right.
time, I've now realized that the type of storytelling has changed in some of these competition shows. Like in the challenge, I feel like once people come on the show and then they make an early departure and they're out episode one, they get eliminated. We don't really see them anymore.
Right.
But it used to be in the past that sometimes we got some of the best people after they were the first person sent home and they came back the next season and they ended up killing it. They used to
Right.
bring people back a lot more. So that might be just a casting protocol too, is don't
Mm-hmm.
that book too early. But it also is interesting that he was brought back for All Stars. I mean, All Stars, the title carries a big load. Like you're bringing somebody back in who got evicted night one, the first person out of the house. How does that really qualify you to be an All Stars? That's a
Well,
thing.
I think everybody is sort of like from casting to audience on the same page with him, where he seemed like he had a lot of potential. I wish there was another word, and it seemed like a bummer. So they tried. That didn't work out. And it was like, maybe one more time. And it's like, no, nope, the guy's a dud. Like, I think that everyone wanted to be rooting for him. And the way he departed initially was crazy, almost like a Michaela who grabbed so many people's attention, even though she left.
Mm.
But I think whereas she really is a good competitor, David, it's like, God, we can't just throw in the towel and admit we betted on a dud so many times that we cast him, then we brought him back for All Stars. Like, is there anything here? Fingers crossed. And it's like, no, I don't think there is. Um, which just goes to show, and we'll get deeper into the episode, how sometimes it just luck and chance play a really big part in these things. And sometimes poor decision making or just inexperience can cause these results that we saw.
Yeah. And I also think when you're talking about experience and decision making, that comes with just a lot of mental strength and patience that is really hard to have in these moments of being in a production, being on a show, being in these really high stress, high adrenaline moments. We
Absolutely.
lose that. We lose that. So to be able to have that is probably like the best skill that you can have.
Hmm.
But moving on to some more of these partners,
True.
Xavier and Shan, and they become the mega storyline of this episode. So really the focus of this episode is Xavier and his past Big Brother people. And that dominates this whole episode. And we'll get into what ends up happening. We see Tyson and Kayla, they get partnered together. Dom and Angela, Cinco and Shannon, and Derek and I'm drawing a blank on her name, but I know she's the cop.
Oh, wait, the cop.
Yes.
Sorry, now I'm thinking of Nicole from Big Brother. Oh, the cop. Okay, I sort of
The
know. We'll
cop.
we'll we'll get into it. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so we get back into the house
Okay.
from the elimination, and they're foreshadowing again. I'm catching on to this. And it's like my inner dialogue because I want to enjoy the show. And I like when I forget that it's produced and that there's storytelling and editors. But we're seeing a
Hmm.
lot of Justine being nervous about going in and being nervous that David is her partner. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why are we seeing this? And then I realized, oh, they're spending a lot of time on Justine. She's going into elimination. She's probably going home. So I'm freaking out at this point.
Right.
I don't want to see it. Then we see Derek X in his confessional. He did his homework on the other players. So him and Alyssa are thinking of throwing in Shannon just because, he's studied up and has seen that she is the social and political strategist from
Yes.
Survivor. So he's got his eye on her. And Alyssa is really, really hanging on to that vendetta from Big Brothers. Like she is not trying to let go that X was her number one in the game and someone who she thought she was number ones with, that it was reciprocated, and she can't shake that off that there was that betrayal in that game.
And totally get that. Like, again, I'm gonna skip ahead to how much just I love Shan and X so much. And both of their personalities really shine through. Shan is so funny, and I was agreeing with everything she said, all her little side statements. So I understand where Alyssa feels betrayed, but I'm with X in terms of like get over it to some extent. Like it is a game, and you have to get someone before they get you. And I'm hoping that in reality, as we see him get screwed, spoiler alert, that he has the same feeling. And I would bet that he does when you're not in the heat of the moment, that he's like, yep, they got me. It is a game at the end of the day. We know we've been over it that the cookout was doing something that they decided to do before he became close with Alyssa, and sticking to that alliance is what made them win. And it's like, I'm sorry your feelings got hurt, Alyssa. I really am. And I just think she's a weenie. I don't know. I think that it's just a bummer that it's like, does it feel good? I hope you're happy, Alyssa. I guess that's how I feel. Like him being there and being an ally to her, I think would have been a bigger asset to her than what she did. And it's just strictly about vengeance. And it's like, I hope you feel
Mm.
good now. You made a move.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Like good for you.
I
Is
agree
your
that having X in the game is not only a number, it's a great number. And it would have been such a better asset to her longevity in this game, her thriving in this game to have him on her side.
Mhm.
And there is that, I love that X said they're focused on getting even. That's not how
Uh-huh.
I play. I focus on winning. And I really like that he said that because that put it in perspective to me because you
Absolutely.
can't help but take things personally. So you can understand that Alyssa is rubbed the wrong way. And it's not just her. Like Derek X feels that way too. And so does Kylan, clearly. And Kylan was even in the cookout. And maybe Kylan's upset because Kylan thought that he was going to win it all and X won it all. So
Yeah.
that is tough. And they maybe thought,
Right.
and they're thinking we're in the power position for once. We don't know if we're going to get this shot again. Let's do it now. Let's go for X now. But it really does draw that line. It almost feels like there is no more Big Brother working together. Now it's Big Brother within Big Brother because how was Azza going to feel? Because Azza was in the cookout with Kyland. I think she was cool with X and wasn't really thinking about the past, wasn't thinking about Big Brother. Now if I'm her, I might be thinking, well, if I'm not close with Kylan, Alyssa, or Derek X, I'm probably out. I'm not protected by this big brother bubble anymore.
It's really not very long-sighted. It's very short-sighted move, which is why X won his season, because you play the long game and you play to win, not just for petty revenge, which is exactly how I think they played it. And part two, um, I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, part two. Yes, Tyson was exactly correct. He's like, are they playing for me? Big Brother
Right.
is eating itself. Like, awesome. You want to take your own alliance down because you've got beef? It's like when there was the season of the challenge when all the vets screwed each other over, which led to last season's like, screw that vet alliance. Let's put it all aside. We need our numbers. If you just start all your old grievances coming out, it's not very smart, especially in the first. They took out Tiffany X all in the first week. And like, these are strong Big Brother players that, it doesn't seem very smart longevity wise to me. But again, I'm repeating myself, but I hope you're happy, Alyssa. I hope that vengeance feels good. I hope saying like, aha, gotcha is worth potentially screwing up your own game, because, all right, you did, but how sweet is that victory? I don't know.
Yeah, and I wonder what their off season was like too, because a lot of these people hang out with each other off camera
Right.
after the game ends. So I mean, I'd be interested to see what the relationship really is like as friends. And I'm dying to know how X feels, because I think you could tell in that moment, you could see emotionally he's shocked, and I think he's really pissed and frustrated and is feeling even more betrayed than maybe Alyssa and Kylan felt on Big Brother. I don't know who's to say, because this is what makes it tricky, because you can make the argument that they just turned around and did what he did to them. So are they really in the wrong? But it,
No, I mean, they 100% did. And she was like, I want him to know how it feels. Like, it was a petty, personal, very personal. Like, again, she was hurt by a friend, which I 100% understand her actually legitimately feeling hurt and betrayed. But do you want to go, like, she's cutting off her nose to spite her face? I feel it's like, great. So you're going to now hurt him back. Is that beneficial to you, or are you just being petty on a personal issue? And I don't know. Again, like, is it the best thing for your game for you to win? Are you trying to win, or are you trying to get back at X for hurting your feelings? And it seems 100% like that's what she's trying to do.
and I can't believe it worked, because also
Me neither. And
taking a shot at X is a gamble, regardless of if you're in his alliance or not. And also Shan too. So you take a shot
yeah.
at a very strong team against David, who has not performed well at all in this show. That is something that I'm noticing more on the CBS version of the challenge, is that they do want to take gambles, and they do want to take shots, and they do want to throw in tough people, and they're less afraid of people coming back and ruffling their feathers and then being somebody who that person then wants to throw in as revenge. But on the
Yeah.
challenge, it seems like people are way more motivated to throw in layups, to throw in rookies, to throw in easy people. They don't want to make any flames too early on because they're scared of
Hmm.
coming back. But on this show, I just feel like people are not thinking about people winning eliminations. They're just throwing down whoever the hell they want.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, playing devil's advocate, because I'm unhappy with the way it turned out. But on the other side, for them, I was like, boy, I would not have done that. I would have been totally scared. It's like making big moves. Like, if you shoot your shot, you better miss it. I thought 100% they're going to beat these idiots, and like, they're going to be back. What are you doing? I couldn't believe that they actually went through with it. Again, it wound up paying off, sort of, again, like it did. They won, but it's like, okay, this was one of those, very, as a viewer, it felt very unsatisfying, because it felt like one of those cheated wins where it's like, it was legitimate. They obviously, David and Justine really won. I get it. It was X's own ego and anger that led him to just be so hot-headed that he was like, I'm going to break everything and then deal with it, which we know as challenge fans that 50 seconds, a minute almost, is an eternity at the end of something like that. Like, that kind of time penalty can really kill you. And I feel like that is just where he didn't think, again, really, he let his own emotions get in his way and didn't have the foresight to see how that might wind up. Like if they had spent 10 seconds letting her break some glass, they would have won. As a viewer, as me, who doesn't feel like David deserved a win, or I mean, I do think he deserved this win. It was a shallow victory. Like the whole thing was like cheap. It's like, okay, so their plan worked and they got what they want, but it feels like, I hope you're proud of yourself almost, as opposed to, it's like, I hope you're glad that you took out a friend and a great player by blindsiding them and pretending. So this is what I was totally with Shan on. When they blindside them, and I'm skipping to the actual elimination announcement, they say their names and they say, unfortunately, this algorithm just, we heard so many bad things about Shannon. We can't trust her. So since X is partnered with her, we're going to have to throw them in. I am 1,000,000% on Shan's side, who gets on her confessional and says, like, be at least man up or woman up and say, like, we're going to shoot our shot at you. Like, that is so lame and weak to pretend that you did it because of me. Like, you're going to go ahead and prove your point and get your vengeance and like wrap it in some silly story about how you've heard that I'm a, you know, that like we hate to do it to X, but since
Yeah.
Shan's his partner, it was just so embarrassing and weak and shows their wishy-washiness. It's like, then be bold, make your big move, stand by it, say, you screwed me, you hurt my feelings, and you know, here is it back at you, babe. But they couldn't even do that, which is just, the whole thing felt cheap.
Yeah, and Shan does, she sniffs it out immediately. Everybody knows what's going on. And I think it's
Right.
interesting that Derek X, once he saw it was a puzzle, he's like vigorously shaking his head no, and Alyssa like, don't do it, don't do it. It's a puzzle. And I'm thinking, yeah, X is probably gonna win this and they're gonna throw him in and he's gonna come back. And it was hard for me to pick who I wanted to win because I wanted
Oh,
X to win.
really?
Yeah, you know what I wanted? I wanted the partners to be able to change. And I do love Shan, but I love Justine more. It's just, how my fandom is working. It's how I feel right now as a viewer watching the show. So I had wished in a perfect world that Justine could have been with X and the two of them came back and David and Shan could have been partners and David and Shan go home because I don't really
Yeah.
have that
There's
much of a connection to David, obviously, and I seem to like Justine a lot. And I wanted X to come back in because how great would that be to see him have to approach his big brother family and be back in the house after they try to make this move on him.
Yeah, I mean, actually, for once, excited to like look at what social media, like if he's
Mm.
posted anything or listen to what he says, because I am very interested in it. Um, I like Justine well enough, but Shan stood out as like a star to me. She was so funny. Her commentary, I think she
Yeah,
brought a lot to the show. And X is
definitely,
obviously
definitely
X.
did.
I think he's just like a super champ. He would have been in mind to like maybe to win it all. I think he's well rounded and great. So just the succession of losing like Tiffany, who I like, and James, who I liked. There's a lot of people I don't know, but I'm losing like a lot of my favorite, most entertaining players. And I'm still like on board. I'm sure that other people will crop up as having exciting personalities and storylines. But no, that was a hard hit for me. I like Justine a lot, but like I don't like David at all. And I think Justine's fine, but I preferred Shannon. I really wanted them to win. I really don't care for Alyssa and Kyland. I think it's becoming clear to me. So I wanted it to be like back at you, like good job trying. I feel so like robbed that they actually got that move paid off.
Yeah, well, I'd be really interested to see what both of them have to say. I really want to know how X
Mm-hmm.
feels because I feel like his situation in Big Brother was so unique that that sort of gameplay and betrayal and backstabbing to Alyssa feels different to me again because of the cookout and because of the cookout's mission and because they had that alliance from day one and
Right.
they were really, really loyal to it. And that alliance took priority versus
Who
any
was the
other.
other friendship pair that also suffered? There was another really good, like they were best friends, someone and someone,
Tiffany and Claire.
Tiffany and
Yes.
Claire.
And Claire
And I
understood. So that's why I'm feeling like this situation was unique. So I'm curious to see
right.
how Alyssa feels about it. And Alyssa is entitled to feel however she does feel. She can still feel that blow, that crushing betrayal because her perspective, remember, it's all, we're living in our own world, we're living in
Of
our
course.
own vision. X was number one, and she thought, I'm his number one. Then she finds out that isn't so. So, I mean, she has a right to feel that hurt and that sort of distrust for him. But at the same time, I do feel like it was a unique situation on that season of Big Brother where they were playing for something bigger, for something greater, and they had that intention from day one. So
And
it's
they had
interesting that
to.
you didn't see that sort of that theme within it.
Well, that's where I really go back to, there's saying I've been lied to, there's omission for gameplay, and there's lying, like, Jen, I love you. I want to, like, there's manipulation and lies, and there's not telling you that I have an alliance with these other people, but we're really close. Like, again, I feel the reason I don't quite like Alyssa very much is I don't know the facts, but I feel like if Claire and Tiffany were on this together, they would have moved past. I feel like a
Right.
Claire would have been like, I know that our friendship was real and meaningful, and that it grew organically and had nothing to do with this alliance. And I still love you and wish the best for you. Where again, Alyssa, it's like, you screwed me, now I'm gonna screw you. And that's like it. That's her, where she can see, and you know,
Yeah. So again, I'm dying to know what X has to say. I emailed him this morning to see if he ever wants to come on our show.
good.
No idea if he's going to see it, if he's going to respond, but that should be interesting. And I
That
wonder
would be
if
great.
him and Alyssa will move past it. I don't know if they'll ever find a chance to be on the same show again. I don't know if it matters at all, but it'll just be interesting to see how this pans out in terms of their friendship.
Yeah, and this all goes back to the real friend, challenge friend, game friend, TV friend. Like, I would like to think that if it were a situation, if it was a Claire and Tiffany, or like if I was in that situation, that I would be able to move past it, but it doesn't seem like she is. So to me, it feels like it can't, it that it's not payback, because you don't do payback in real relationships. You don't tit for tat and say, you hurt me, so
Right.
fuck you. You say, you hurt me, and they say, I'm sorry, and you can
Yeah.
either accept that and move on, or you can't. But I mean, if that, it's like, well, how real of friendship is it to you either, Alyssa, then, if all you want is revenge?
Yeah, I mean, but it also is a game always. And I always forget that as well. And I think a lot of people play emotionally, and Big Brother is truly based on being fake to one another. That's really what it is. And there's better ways to go around it, but it really is just based on being fake to somebody's face, but playing a game behind their back. So,
Yeah, and I can't, this is like one of those intangibles, and I can't put my finger on it, but there's nice being fake, which I'll call
mhm,
gameplay, and there's being deceitful and nasty. Those are sort of different things. Like, being sort of strategic is different to me than being manipulative and not nice, and like actually an unlikable person. And I think the thing that separates like the West, who's just and Kyle, even, who, like, you love to hate the, like, pranksters and sort of manipulator game player people, and the Alyssas is sort of owning up to it. And I don't like the way her and Kylan went about it. And again, Kylan rubbed me the wrong way. The way he left, I thought was really low. And I just think it sort of says something about their ultimate character. And I would have been much more impressed with this move had they been like, X, you screwed us. We're screwing you. Good luck.
yeah, if
Like,
they just said it, they should have. But I
yeah, it
think
was so tacky to
that
pretend
is
that it
where
was
the fear
Jan's
came
fault.
in. So instead of being so fearful of X and deciding not to throw him in, being scared of him coming back, they decided to throw him in, but we'll blame it on somebody else and we'll pretend that it's because of Shan. So that way, when he does come back, maybe he won't be mad at us. Maybe he won't think it was us, which the delivery was really poor, by Alyssa. You could read right through it. You could tell that she was fumbling on her words, that it wasn't authentic, that she was putting out this fake lie as to why she was putting X in.
Absolutely. And it makes their bold move. I figured out all my thoughts. That's why it's so cheap. It's like your bold move wasn't even a bold move. It was a scaredy cat move with like it was catty. And it's like, I'm gonna roar like a lion, like, to the cameras, and then you're like pushing them out. It's like you couldn't even stand by your own big move. How am I supposed to take you seriously as like a big gamer when, like, it's so transparent, not cool? and you're petty.
Yeah.
That's
And I feel bad for X. I was, I can see Alyssa and Kylan, and you can make an argument for them, but I feel worse for X. And, I didn't want that to happen to him. But at the same time, the way that the storyline was being executed throughout the entire episode, I almost just wanted them to throw him in, because if not, what would have been the point of listening to their plan for an hour, for the entirety of the episode? All it was, are we going to get X out, and why should we get X out, and we don't trust him, the entire thing. So when I was thinking, when they get to elimination, I'm like, well, you better freaking throw him in, because we've just been listening to you plot it out for an hour. And if this ends up being one of those editing sort of story arcs that we're watching and listening, and then we don't get the payoff, then I would just be annoyed. I'm like, are they doing this again? Are they dragging this out, acting as if they're going to throw in X the entire episode, and then they throw in anybody else?
yeah. I just
That
wish
was the
X won.
only, yeah, that was the only thing
That's
where I was like, all right, at least I didn't sit here for an hour for them not to do it.
yeah. Um, yeah, I'm on total team Shan that Alyssa plays like a little weasel, and I don't care for her. And I wish that it backfired in her face, because that would have been much more satisfying for me to watch
Yeah.
than,
I feel
you
like
know,
certain situations definitely make me really emotional and biased, but at the same time, I feel like lately I've been able to just take a step back and kind of just watch these shows and just be entertained by them, and kind of be a little less biased. Like, I don't even dislike Alyssa, honestly. Like, I don't think it was maybe the best move for her game, but at the same time, like, there's an entertainment value to it, and I was kind of like, all right, well, she's kind of fun in her confessionals about her decision to do it. Like, she's like, okay, we're playing a game, like, let the games begin. And it kind of reminds me, like, yeah, I guess it is a game, and there's an entertainment value to her throwing in a big brother person in
no,
hindsight.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I agree with you. And again, not that we need to clarify this. I'm sure she's a lovely person. I don't dislike her as a human in life. And I also, as a human, can empathize with that she feels hurt by a friend. However, as strictly a viewer and my like impressions of her gameplay and her moves that she's making, I don't I don't like her, meaning I'm not for her choices. I'm not team her. Other people make me smile. She makes me go, all right. So I don't like her in that regard, meaning that. And I thought X was great. I thought Sham was great. Bummer to see him go, but sure, it was a move. It was interesting. It was, again, like, I like the show. I'm gonna keep watching it. It's not, these aren't people that I'm like having a dinner party with. And I'm also excited on that angle to get to know so many more people, because I
Mhm.
never knew Shan, and now I'm like, she's such a great character. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of people that stick out as like great, fun, exciting people. And Alyssa to me seems kind of milk toast, pretty manipulatable. Um, the way they were talking to Angela, like, I just wrote in my notes, like, Kylan and Alyssa are both just like leaning forward, grinning at her, like she was pulling the strings. Even Kylan seemed kind of like someone that could be manipulated really easily. And there's a place for those people in the game, and there's a place for other people in the game. So,
Yeah, I think Tyson and Angela really have a grip on the house right now.
yes, I mean, there is like, again, what I would like to say is that there is no way in hell. I always thought like I'd rather do a Big Brother because it's like less physical and like you can win and like not be in like an athlete. But I would like, admittedly, when it's like, oh, I would crack, I would cry, I would die. I could never do any of this. I wouldn't have the foresight. I'd be like, but I like them, or like, we're real friends. How could you? Would never, ever, ever, ever be able to take the sort of psychological pressure and keep my cool ever.
Right.
But I'm not there. I'm just at my couch watching, so I'm going to judge them. But yeah,
Right.
no, I
It is
never
very
in a
easy to judge
million
from the
years would
couch.
want to put myself in that situation, either physically or mentally. So kudos to all of them, because yeah. But you're there, you're getting paid, and you're on my TV, so I'm here to talk about it. So some of
Yeah.
them I think are lame, like Alyssa, And some of them are real, they stand out as shining stars like Shan. So I'm bummed to see her go, but hopefully we'll get more of her
Yeah,
in
and
the
again,
future.
that's what's really cool about this CBS version of the challenge is that I feel like I am taking a liking to almost everybody in a way where everybody feels like they're leaving too soon for me. So
Right.
X leaving, it's too soon for me. Like
Right.
I wanted X to make it far. I wanted to watch him. He's great. He's athletic. He's strategic. I wanted to see him stick around. Same thing with Shan. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, I forget his name already. Kira's ex, who was the first person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
can't remember his name, sadly.
David's the only person that I don't care if he left. So I'm bummed that that I'd be like, bye, see you later. Everybody else, I was like, no, like with Tiffany and Cashel.
Cashel, yes, and Tiffany,
Cashel. I
yes.
get Cashel and
Tiffany leaving
Cachet
as
names
well.
confused.
And I'm feeling like that more on this show, even though I was more reluctant to accept this show because it felt like, oh, CBS is now doing a random version with
Yeah.
these shows that I don't watch with the people I don't really know, as compared to the MTV that we watch over and over and over again. But I
Yes.
think in the MTV show, there's almost more dead weight. And they seem to have people who aren't as multidimensional in terms of their skill set. You know, they don't
Yep.
really have as many people who are as well rounded, that have the politics, that have the athleticism, that have the mind games and the math and riddles and everything down like they do on this CBS show. And I feel like everyone is leaving so soon, but that's just because
Yeah.
everybody there is strong and is
Yeah.
entertaining in a way. So let's talk about the challenge of the day, falling off the knowledge or the no ledge. And TJ really wants us to know that he did not write this. And I wish that he would let us know that more often. Whenever he's saying, welcome to my final, I want to know exactly what TJ came up with, what his plan was in the producer's writer's room. I want to know, TJ, because you are,
Mhm.
isn't he, what is he on the MTV show? The Wrangler? He's no
He
longer
was
a host,
the for the
right?
CIA. He was like the right there, like CIA controller or something. And it's like, well, where is your thumbprint in this, TJ? What did you come up with for this trivia? Did you come up with the questions, TJ? Did you come up with? I think he just comes up with laughing at people that fall.
I mean, TJ doesn't have to come up with anything other than being himself because he's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
the best host on TV. I mean, we're biased, but it is funny whenever they tag. We talk about it all the time, but I'll never get over it. Whenever they tag like TJ's final or here, oh,
Right.
TJ doesn't make it easy on us.
If you want to run my final, you're gonna need to have five. Right. It's like, oh, TJ.
So I like that this is one where he was like, I want to let you guys know I did not write this.
Yeah.
Also, my favorite part of this is that Enzo says doo doo pie twice. And I laugh even harder the second time he says it, as if it wasn't immature enough the first time. Like, how old is this man? But I just love Enzo.
You love Enzo. Did he say it like, oh shit? Like, oh, doo doo pie? Like, I didn't even catch it. Was that his connotation? Like, oh, doo doo pie? Like when he missed an answer?
Oh, the context is because they're so high up on the building. He's basically saying people are going to shit their pants, but in Enzo world,
Oh,
there's going to be a ton of doo doo pies everywhere.
okay.
There did not end up being doo-doo pies, but we do get a trivia game. And
Mm-hmm.
I like the questions. The reason I like the questions is because I feel like I could answer them and I can play
Mm-hmm.
along. And no one wants to feel like they're the stupid one or that they've lost before they even get a chance to play the game. So I liked playing along with this one. Were there any questions that stuck out to you?
It was just some of them were a bummer when you got past a certain point, like the animal question, like the heaviest animal. It's like we can think, elephant, rhino, hippo, those things, and then it gets tricky. So that I was like, oh, it sucks being, the fourth or fifth or sixth on that because it's just getting more and more wound down. And I sort of understand that. I thought of a walrus. I wonder if that was one of them. I'll have to look that up. Um, and I loved though in this, I love the Kiki shot, our Kiki shout out of the week where he was like, if I die, Kiki, you could just buy all the shoes and purses you want. Like it's just he's the cutest with Kiki. Some of the questions again were easy for like the first one or two or three. And then I was like, I don't know, like the currency things. I was like, would Bitcoin be a trading? Like I was like the dollar, the the euro, and then it's like the yen, but then I thought pesos was a great answer, which caused X to fall. But yeah, I don't know. I liked the way this was done. I don't know if we've seen that before, where it's like one question and you do a roundabout until someone loses. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, and you're right about the placement of where you are in that line is really important because
Yeah.
now that you've said that the top five, the easiest ones, and it comes back to you, you wish you could be that person behind you,
Right.
the person they could fall instead of you, because you kind of just run out of knowing, and
Yeah.
there's only so many answers to answer these tricky trivia questions. But I thought everybody did really good. I was actually really impressed by everybody's ability to whip these answers up when you're on top
Hmm.
of a suspended building. For example, the heaviest animals. I maybe in that moment I could be a little bit more creative, but I was having a hard time thinking about any of them because I just feel, so many of them could, because you have to think of the top 10. And I feel like, oof, if you make one mistake and you're thinking the top 10 to 20, that's incredibly
Right.
but it's really hard to know those facts. Um, yeah, same thing with the sports teams, which NHL teams have won the Stanley Cup. Danny was cracking me up because he's like the Pittsburgh hockey team,
Yeah.
and then he says Penguins, and he ends up being right. He's like, okay, yeah, it's like an animal that does well in the cold, so sure, I mean that works. But
Right.
yeah, the Catwoman question was fun. I think that's why I like these questions, because they were a little bit more like pop culture, sports related, or even like animals. They're
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of fun.
I like them, but they're hard also because it's like either you know it or you don't. There's no like, it's hard. I mean, he did puzzle out penguins just because ice, but like if you don't know, like only hockey team I could think of was, I'm like, Canada, they hockey, but are they even in the NHL, or is that in like,
Yes. Oh my gosh,
oh,
they're
okay.
huge,
So the
huge. Like
Maple Leafs,
that
right?
should have
Isn't that
been,
a
yeah, like
all
that
right?
really would
See,
have
I knew
been.
that. All right. Okay, good. I was like, I don't know if I could even come up with one. I was surprised that no one knew actresses that won the Academy Award. It's like, I guess people are into different things because,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. And Ozza actually did a great job. She seemed to carry the load in this one for Ben, because Ben, living on his farm life, was really not involved with these pop culture questions.
right. Like he
Was
needs the
not
almanac
helpful. So
questions.
Ozza carried the torch for that team. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, I sleep on Ozza, to be honest, because it doesn't seem as though she stands out,
Hmm.
totally on a lot of these challenges. But she did a really good job and she held it down. When we get to the winner's circle, though, I'm kind of feeling like, besides Ozza, the girls are not carrying their weight. Like Kyland is just spitballing these answers off, like rapid fire. And Alyssa, I don't think she may have said one zodiac sign. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think she didn't answer anything.
Alyssa. Angela actually did good too with like like she was doing, I was impressed. She knew like hockey team, a few things that I was like, all right. The other thing that was oddly tricky that I'm like, I need to brush up on my presidential knowledge.
Mm,
And no one said New Jersey, by the way. The state that they missed with an N was New Jersey. I was like,
I thought
New
so.
Jersey people.
If
Um,
Enzo was up there, it would have been a done deal.
yeah,
But unfortunately, that wasn't his round. He would have just been like
exactly.
Bayonne and
Yeah.
forgot that New Jersey, that you needed the N in the word. He would have just been like Bayonne. Is there
Right. Bayonne,
a state that
Jersey.
starts with an N? I mean New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, the presidents though, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I was like, I don't know beyond the first three that they said too. I was like, I don't know who's the fourth president. Who knows? Like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to brush up on that kind of thing because I was like, why don't any of us know? Like, they didn't know. I didn't know. I'm sure
same. I
someone
didn't know
knows.
either. And it feels like a lot of these questions were things you really should know, but
Yeah.
a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the holidays were good. I think one that maybe they missed was Veterans Day. That could have,
Oh, okay. I didn't. I was
yeah.
trying to think what's another one that they missed because I was with her. I was like, Easter was like the last holiday I could think of, but
Yeah,
that's always
that's right.
Sunday,
Sunday.
right?
Yeah.
Right. No, I knew that. I was like, Good Friday. Is that
I
a
think New Year's Day
New
probably.
Year's Day? I thought of too. Didn't think of Veterans Day. And I think that's almost it that they.
Yeah, and I wonder, and obviously this didn't happen, but I wonder what would have happened if just there was no answers left, if everybody answered them.
I guess new question.
Just
Like
move
just move
on.
on to the
Yeah.
next question.
Call it a wash. Everyone just moves on. Yeah, that's the
To
easy
TJ's game.
to TJ's
We've
game.
spared this one, but
Yeah. But I like this. I think so. It's episode 4, and they put trivia up there pretty early. I think that that was a smart move because it's just very central to the challenge brand. It's a classic,
sure.
it's a traditional one, and I think people at home love to play along with it. So you get a few athletic ones in there, you get a trivia game, makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Also, one of the shining moments from this was the fact that Leo was up there when they asked, what are the actresses that have played Catwoman? And this man, like, he's got to be playing into it because he must know that people think of him as the cat guy. But the way, like, how excitable he is about cats is like, down boy, talk about animals and dogs, like, down boy, like, he
Yeah.
loves himself some kitty cats.
And Desi was his partner.
Mm.
Was just like ready to kill him. Like you could tell with everything in her, she was like trying not to like literally punch him in the face. You know, when someone's just on her last nerve, she's like, this man mentions cats again. He's like, meow, wow, next to her. She was like, stop. Yeah, you could feel her irritation radiating out of the TV, and I loved it.
Yeah, like, it's
It's
actually his whole personality.
yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was. I just think Derek X is just really charming and fun and cute to watch because
Oh,
something about him, like, not knowing who has played Catwoman. I don't know. I just kind of liked that moment. Like, I thought that was a silly moment. We like learning more about these people beyond who they're aligned with and what their strategy is like in the game. Come to find out, he is not someone who really gives a shit about movies. And we come to find out that Kyland is a huge movie head.
right.
I think finding out these little personality traits about people are really cool.
Agreed. And I also agree that Derek is just adorable. Like whatever he's like, oh, who would ever know that? And it's like, what do you mean who would ever Michelle Pfeiffer? Then no one said Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm like, you guys, Catwoman. Come
The
on.
only person I could think of outside of who they said was Zoe Kravitz because she was in the most recent one. And I
Oh,
can see it. I only know it because, and I love Zoe Kravitz. And you know what? I haven't seen the movie yet, but I feel like in all the trailers, they gave her such like cool, hot girl, superhero villain look. Like in the trailer, her dialogue is just the worst ever. Like she's like, "Don't worry, baby. If I lose a life, I got 9 of them." Like
yeah,
it's just the worst, like walking cliche of like a hot superhero, a
that's
hot
kind of what
girl, cool
all
girl.
the cat women say, like meow, like
Yeah.
sharp.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
let me sharpen my nails, tiger. But like
Literally.
it's fine. That's it. It's like look hot in leather. That's what they do.
I
And she does a
seriously,
great job of it. I mean, they're all pretty, Michelle Pfeiffer's is actually like I love that movie. So with the pain, I mean, there's a lot more going on, and I think that's a better movie. So she's a
yeah.
fun one because you see her anyway. Whatever.
Yeah, I
The
didn't
questions
really
were
like
fun.
that the cop though was giving kind of like stereotypical masculine views of Derek and was like, how do you not know? Like, this should be your thing, dude, man. Like, this should be your thing. You
Right.
should know who plays Catwoman. You should know who the sports teams are. And I'm just like, he's not into that.
Is her name Sarah? Is that who
Oh,
the cop is? Okay.
it must be.
So Sarah, yeah, she was like weirdly angry at him, and she's like, "Everyone says you're smart." It's like these aren't really. You're not smart because you don't know who played Catwoman. You know what I mean? Like I don't really know if that's the judge of someone's intelligence, but no, she was a little aggressive towards him. Yeah, and he is just sweet and adorable.
I love that Enzo
I
exists.
know you
But I
love
also love
Enzo. I don't love Enzo as much as you love Enzo. Like again, we forget that Enzo called himself Meow Meow. Do you remember that? He's like, "I'm the Meow Meow." Remember? You don't remember? He was like a meow meow. So I'm like, Enzo called himself meow meow, and he's making fun of this guy for liking cats. Again, Leo is really over the top with this cat. Again, it's like your whole identity is that you like cats. We get it.
maybe that's
But
why he doesn't like Leo. Maybe he's thinking, I'm the
oh,
cat guy. We both can't exist. Like, I'm the cat guy. Like
Jenna,
how
I
Daniel
think
on this season of Big Brother is like, no, Michael, I'm the super fan. And there's not enough room in this town for 2 super fans.
I literally 100% think that he's like, well, I can't call myself meow meow anymore. If he's going to be Leo, the cat guy, like it stole his cat thunder.
But anyway, what I was going to say about why I love Enzo, besides just the fact that he's alive, is that he knew one of the best actresses of the last 10 years. And he said Kate Blanchett. And I was just like,
Oh,
well,
you're right. That was pretty impressive and cool.
cool. David says that Sandra Bullock won the Oscars in the last 10 years. And they
I
all,
thought that could have been right. I was like, is that right? She has won 2 Oscars, I think. I don't know what the years. I'm not great with them. So I didn't think that was as stupid as, I mean, I was like, oh, sure, maybe. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
Did she?
yeah, he tried. Good
Tried.
effort, good effort. So we see obviously that Justine and David lose the entire challenge and Kyland and Alyssa win. We get back into the house and we've spoken about it. The entire episode was basically Kyland and Alyssa weighing out should they or shouldn't they put in X. So we can get into the elimination. I do think X is genuinely shocked. It seems like he was in the dark by his big brother fam turning against him to throw him in. And he's really pissed. And we talked about it a little bit, but we learned the rules of the game and we learned that each player has to individually hit their color coded glass before they run through a little glass tunnel, get all their puzzle pieces and put their puzzle together. At first, I was curious, did X forget that in the heat of the moment?
No.
Adrenaline. Turns out in their confessionals that they say that was actually their strategy. They wanted to eat the L on the time delay. They didn't care about a time delay. To me, that didn't really make that much sense. Maybe because we're challenge watchers and we know how detrimental every single second of a delay can
Yeah.
be to a game. This game comes down to nanoseconds at some points, or at least
Hmm.
it leads us to believe that. Um, but I just don't really understand. I mean, why not give Shan a shot to break the glass? Like, did we think that she wasn't going to be able to? Like, I don't really understand why they went about it that way.
So I think my interpretation was that he was literally so pumped up and hyped that like it was like he wanted to go like pow 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 and made that choice that he literally couldn't like hold back and wait for her to like to do it, that it was like let me just do it, it's still going to be faster than, again, I agree that as someone that we know that it can come down to 1/13 of a second, like when someone wins. And I do think they would have won if he had allowed her to break the glass, assuming she was capable of doing it and wasn't like very bad at it. I don't know. But they had almost a minute penalty. And I think they lost by 8 seconds or something. Like I also really liked in this challenge. Well, let's go back just to break it down. I loved this final because it was a spin on the old breaking the glass wall. Um, and it had the puzzle at the end. So, you don't know which way it's going to go. And it dealt with communication. So I thought it was a great, TJ made a great game this time. It was a great, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that there was a physical, a mental, and a communication element in it. And I really liked that they put the time thing up at the end when it was like, they have to wait this second. So this is how we are. Because we saw that they would have won probably had they not had that penalty. So knowing that almost makes it more of a bitter pill to swallow that they didn't win because it just wasn't good challenge thinking. Um, but I get
Yeah.
it. He was fired up. He was fired up, and it was like, I'm gonna be so quick and pounding through these things that like we're gonna make it up at the end.
And
I
we
think
do
that
know
was
from watching Big Brother that X is good at puzzles and he definitely has that mind in his favor as well as his athleticism. But the editing did make it tricky for me to see if they actually were doing a good job at the puzzle for kind of both teams. And I mean, that's the point. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make us wonder, oh my gosh, where are they? This is so neck and neck. Who's going to win? But I couldn't really tell like who was successful, who was really leading the charge in putting these puzzles together. Justine credits David. And this is where I thought David was cute because at the end of the elimination, he is hyping up Justine. He's loving his partner, talking about how great she is. And I just think it's really cute. It's sweet to have those moments because I think a lot of times people's ego gets in the way in these games.
yes,
They want to take all the credit or they want to say like, I did that. We've seen so many people on the MTV show, as soon as they win the elimination, it's like they won the Super Bowl and they're
right,
like doing the douchies, like all of the douchey animated Supermans and look at me and F you and F you and F you.
yeah.
So I thought that that was a cute moment between them. They're both crediting each other, which was nice. And I thought
It
it was
was
fun.
cute. He was
Yeah.
cute, and he was like, I got the best Love Island girl, I think. Like he's like, these things matter if your partner. No, he was sweet. He was definitely sweet. I feel like, and I might be making this up because I'm biased, but based on the clock and like how when the time delay and then the showing the countdown of when they finished, that it was like because of the delay that they didn't win. And maybe that's, I don't know. But that's how I perceived it. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. Viewers. No, seriously, is I don't know. I'm feeling my perception of reality TV these days is I'm thinking deeper about it. I keep thinking about like the editing and how we're seeing what they want us to see and all of that. So
Well,
that's all we know. Like we don't really know exactly how neck and neck they were on that puzzle, or if one team was really struggling pretty hard, or how quickly it took them to put it together. So
we're gonna have to get X on so we can get the inside scoop from the horse's mouth. But
yeah,
just quick hype for our Patreon. If you guys don't know, A, thanks for watching this. B, we have a Patreon. And if you, like us, are enjoying these Wednesday night CBS's with Big Brother, we are talking about Big Brother on our Patreon. So plug for that. Check it out. The link is in this. And I just have to say that I'm like super crazy into that right now. Are you?
I am, and I
Okay.
haven't caught up. I know that you're caught up. I still need to watch last night's episode because so I don't know what has most recently happened, but I'm so entertained by Big Brother right
I'm
now.
not going to say anything, but you have got to watch it. And then we'll do the next Patreon when Dan catches up because I can't wait to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah.
So
So
check out our
excited.
Patreon. We cover Big Brother.
Yeah. All right.
All
So
right.
thank you, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. Leave us
Yes.
your comments, please. Let us know what you think about the X and Big Brother situation, because there's just a lot of opinions that could be had about this.
So
So
many. Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. We do love your comments and we read them all and we enjoy them. So thank you. Yeah, that's all. Well, until next time, we'll have Dan back with us.
that's all, folks. Then we'll have to see what they title the episode next week.
What if Dan showed up on the challenge Korea? Like if he was secretly there and we didn't even know, trying to be on the challenge in Korea.
That would be incredible. Oh, I would
Hashtag
love
Dan in
it.
Korea.
Oh my God, I would love it so much. I would have to assume that there'd be a little bit of a language barrier there, but a lot of people also come onto the Challenge MTV that
Yeah,
have
we've got the
barriers,
people that
so
hardly speak English coming
he could be the
on.
turbo of
Yeah,
the Challenge Korea.
exactly.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.